Right, let's start today's session. So in the last session of Django, we were discuss about how to prepare Django project and settings. So in PyCharm Professional Editor. So let me open our project with PyCharm Professional Editor. So let's go to PyCharm and then we can see this. This is PyCharm Professional Editor. To open existing project, you just go to File menu and open it. Right now, this project is opening. This is not your project. It is a REST API project, which I was discussing in the last session. But this is not your project. Let me open your project by going to File menu and open it. And the project location is what? Desktop. So you just go to C drive and users, your computer name, go to the desktop location and select the folder. Django 6:30am is folder name, and in this folder I have Django project 6:30am project name. You can select the project name and click on OK and click on this window. Then your project is going to be load. Okay. So it's going to be loading fully. So after loading completely, so then we can start writing coding part now. So in the last session, we were discuss all the settings which are really related to Django execution, and we must and should know about that settings, everyone. Okay, these settings are very important. So how to open, how to manage your database file and everything here. Settings are very important. Once you know that settings, how to manage, and then it will be easy to manage your code and all. So you can go to terminal window right now. So right now, once we are going to terminal window, right now we are not into our virtual environment. So directly it will go to C drive environment. This is system environment, we can say that. But I created this Django project 6:30am under one virtual environment. Do you want to know that which is our virtual environment? Just simply go to the location of the project folder which I created, Django 6:30am. In this folder, there is an environment name, virtual environment name, my.env here. So this we have to activate. So how to activate? So two dots that is moving back to the folder. One dot is for moving Django project 6:30am. One more dot for moving back 6:30am folder, and backslash my env is virtual environment slash scripts slash activate. So it is going to be activated virtual environment. Right now you are into your virtual environment name, because under this environment only I created my project called Django project 6:30am. Fine. Look at this. And as I said in the last session, so this is project level files and this is application level files. Whenever we create an application, you must and should include this application name into settings.py. Look at this settings.py. Already have included my app under the installed apps. Okay, and by default, this database integrated with what actually? SQLite tree. So later you can able to change this SQLite tree to MySQL also, not a problem. This is settings.py file. It's a common settings. It's a global file. We can call it as settings.py file. So let me close this. So right now we are into one application, my app only. Now it's time to show the execution process. Once I'll show you how to prepare the view logic. So in Django is completely based on which pattern? MVT pattern. So in MVT pattern, model represent what? M represent what? Model. Model means database related things. View represent what? Python logic. Template represent, T represent what? Templates. So we have a templates. I created templates folder. And in this my app, Look at this models.py is there. Here we have to create models. In this views.py, here we have to create Python logic. So models, views, and then templates. We have to manage first these three. But as I said that everything should be managed with views only because it's a Python logic. First, we will talk about views, how to write view logic and how to execute this. But general cases, if you want to open any website, directly you can go to URLs. So URL address. So we have to open URL address. Now you can see this link is there. No? For example, I'm opening. So flipkart.com page, I'm opening flipkart.com, Flipkart. So if I try to open flipkart.com, its website is open. The moment when I click on any mobile devices, now you can see the URL name is what? Mobile is there, /mobile. So where you are going, the URL address, okay, www.flipkart.com/mobile. This is my URL name. This name through I am visiting this mobile page only. Like this same in Django also, we have to visit our page by using URLs. But in this application, do you have any URLs.py? No. So by default, every application of Django, there don't be any URLs. So project level URLs are there by default. Look at this in this Django project 6.am, URLs.py is there, URLs. Uniform resource locators or uniform resource identifier also, we can say that URI. Somewhere you can find URIs. Means uniform resource identifiers, anyone. Double click on URLs of project level. So the moment when we see these URLs here, look at this, all default libraries are there from django.contrib.import admin, from django.urls import path. So URL patterns equals to, in the square bracket list format. So by default, the URL name is what, sir? Admin / is there. So immediately when we use this URL name, it will go to admin.site.urls. So let's run the server and check it, this admin URL. If I hit this admin URL, what will happen, where it will go? So I'm going to run the server. To run the server, what is the command? Python space manage.py run server. Okay, now you can see. So we are running the server, Django version 4.1.7. Settings of Django project 6.am settings, and click on this link directly, http 127.0.0.1 is IP address, :8000 is the port number. The moment when I click on this, it will see this 127.0.0.1 : 8000. But where is URL? This is actual web address. Okay, home page, I assume that. But I want to visit where? Admin page. So let me go for admin. The moment when I give the admin URL name, it will bring you admin page. But here admin page showing that administrative account. Do you have administrative account? Yes. I was just created in the last session super user. Our super user is this one, Sherry. So super user name here, which I created in the last session. So as a super user, I'm just logged in. Now you can see we are into administrative panel. This is called Django admin interface. All admin related tasks we can do in Django panel. Here we can able to manage multiple applications, multiple users. Admin person can add users, can delete users, can edit users. Admin person can edit application. Everything can do admin level. So welcome, Sherry is there here. Okay, this is just for how we are going to reach to admin page because of URL name. Look at this, admin URL name is there in this URL address. Same. Now I'm going to prepare my own URL names. I can go with my own execution. How we are using admin here. So admin panel reaching purpose, same thing. Let me log out this. So let me go for view section here. Okay, first how that Django will work. So and one more thing here, after execution, you will be able to see this terminal window. So some statements are generated after logout also, related HTTP responses. Do you want to clear this? Control C. And do you want to clear the screen again? CLS. So it will make comfort now. Fine. But how, sir, Django execution process will takes place? Let me open some paint. Before going to write some code, I need to show you Django execution flow, how execution flow is going to be takes place in Django. Simple. As I said that Django is a client server architecture. First, the client will send request to the Django server. Okay, Django server. Django server can identify the URLs. Based on the URL, URLs will decide where it has to be connect, in which view. So view is nothing but Python logic. In case view is going to be communicate with any models, he can communicate with models. And now here templates are there. This is exactly, I'll explain the flow. You just try to understand. Now you can see this. So this now here I'm going to write client. This is what actually Django server, assume that Django server. And this is URLs dot py, and this is views dot py. These are models dot py. Then template. It's not a py file, templates one. So Django is completely what architecture? MVT architecture. MVT architecture means M for model, V for view, T for template. MVT. So look at this. In this case, model and template, are they interacting both? No. If they want interacting model and template, who is responsible? That is view. View will communicate with model. We will communicate with the template. Yes. So first, how the code is going to up to the view section? Yes, first we have to start the server, send the request. Start the server, send the request means client will send the request to Django server by hitting link like http://127.0.0.1:8000, that link only. / some admin or some URL name. Immediately Django server can take the request. It will identify the URLs. URLs where here it will be go to URL section here. In this URL, user is looking for which URL it will identify. Suppose user is looking for admin URL. So by using this URL name, it will search this URL name is present or not in the view section, because view is nothing but Python logic. User is submitting one URL name. That URL name related views are there or not, it will check, identify the views. If the view is there, that view will execute and will give the response to the client. But this view, in case user client has sent a request to communicate with the model or database, so the view can do what actually according to client request. View will connect with models, and model represent, I said database. It's not, model is nothing but database. I never say model is represent database. I can say that. So immediately model is going to responsible to collect the data from database, sir. Database means SQLite or MySQL. So the database data automatically is fetched from the model and stored into view section. So database data will come and stored that into view section only. So finally, view is going to responsible to send the data to the template. Template means what? We are going to see the final output in our window. That is web page, HTML template. So finally, end user is going to see the output where? In templates only right now. So this is called reading data. Reading data means what? Client send request to the Django server for retrieving the data from database. The Django server can identify the URLs. Based on it, the URLs, then it can identify the relevant views. Relevant action methods, you can better to say. View is nothing but action methods. What action methods are there? All Python related code we have to write into view section. These views can communicate with models because user has sent request for getting the data from database. So who represent database means models only. These views can communicate with models and bring the data from database. And database data will come and stored into where? View only, not directly template. Finally, this view is going to take responsible database data will be displayed to the template only. Got my point? Template means UI. UI means user interface. Finally, what end user is going to see onto the screen. The data is going to display into here. But here one thing is important. Sir, actually View is nothing but Python logic. This is completely server-side code. But template is nothing but user interface, HTML. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all are client-side technologies. But in every web development, strictly remember, no client-side technology can understand server-side code. Even in Java also, .NET also, anywhere. Okay, servers are going to give the data, whatever it is processed there, and the data, whatever is providing to the client, that should be in the client understandable format only. So here View is going to responsible to collect the data from database model, and it will send that same data to the template. But unfortunately, templates is section is what actually client-side technologies. Client-side technology cannot understand server-side code, no, which is coming from View. So that's where in Django we have a template language that is called DTL. DTL means Django template language is there. Django template language. We are going to use this language only. Why we use this language, Django template language DTL? Because the data is coming from View section. That is server-side code. We have to convert into client-side understandable format. Who will do that? Django template language will do that. If you are using Django framework, DTL language is there, Django template language. In upcoming session, when I use Flask framework, then Jinja 2 template language is there. Okay, Jinja 2, it is recommended for Flask framework. So both are having same syntaxes. This is exactly. This is only one category, like reading the data from database. Sorry, what I can do, some sending the data from registration form to database. For example, the moment when I hit the register URL, I can go to registration form directly template, first template. So first, for example, registration means client will send request to Django server for registration. So Django server can identify the URL called register, and that register related view is going to execute. This view is going to send the request to templates, because template will be open up. The template means user interface, registration form will be open. After that, the registration form details, user need to give the inputs, registration name and ID, password, and so many details form. After that, in the template, when he click on submit button in the template, that all the details, whatever user is entered in the text boxes in the registration form in the template, that details will be submitted to the view back again. View is a logic, no? Yes. So view responsibility is what? To take the input values from that form, that is template, and it will be validate whether the valid details entered by the user or not. It has to check. If it is valid, this view is going to responsible to submit these template values to the model only, database only. So ultimately, view is the main role. In Django MBT pattern, hero of the Django is view only. Without view, we cannot be able to do. Without view logic. So view is very important. So that's what model and template cannot communicate. Model and template can communicate to via views only. So that means front-end application to back-end application and back-end application to front-end application, both communication is view through only. Reading the data from models or sending the data from template to models. So view through only it is going to be processed. Simple logic. If user wants to read the data from database, so database models will give the data to the view. View will provide response to the template. If user want to send the data to the database, user will interact with the template registration form. the details can be submitted to the view. View will check the details which is entered by the user, whether it is correct or not. If it is validate, then it will submit to the models only. This is same process. But in this session, I'm not going to introduce, okay, I'm not going to introduce these models and view. Okay, I'm not going to introduce models and view. Still time is there. Okay, these models and views, models and templates, I'm not introducing. So up to view section, I'm going to show you now today how to work with view logic along with URLs. This I will introduce later. One by one, slowly I'll inject that. One by one layer, I'll inject that. All finally, after introduce all three layers, M, V, T, all three, then our coordination is fixed. Model, view, template, how they are coordinating with each other. So this is mainly separation of concern. Okay. So first, let me introduce view. So try to understand up to here only. You have to focus now, today's session. When we send request to the server, Django server can identify the URL. URLs can communicate with view. View will give the response, default response. Today, view is not going to take any responsibility to communicate with models and templates. You just forget about models and templates. Just for understanding point of view, I'm telling. So let me introduce the views now here today. So let's go to view section here. Where is the view section, sir? You can see my app, your application name, view is like view is there here. This is the view. Double click on views.py. So all views you need to create under the views.py folder only. So here view is created by default. Some libraries are there from django.shortcut.import render. So you'll understand why render it is. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to create a view here. View is nothing but Python logic. No. Yes, you can write Python functions. So views are two types, function based views as well as class based views. Either you can write your view logic with functions, Python functions, or Python classes also. I'm using first Python functions here. Df, my view name is v1. v1 means it's a function name. You can take any name. But we need to send a request from view, no? So that's what I'm taking request object here, request parameter. After sending request through v1 view, that means after executing v1, what response you are expecting? So I want to return. Return keyword why use generally function with return statement means it will return the result value to the calling place from where you are calling, it will give the response to there. So return what response it is, HTTP response. Why? Because it is web application development it is. So Django is completely client server architecture. No? So from browser, we are sending request, that is client request, and server need to give the response. So client server response means client and server will communicate via HTTP protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. So that's what we are going to give HTTP response, HTTP response. But look at this HTTP response. The moment when I write here, there is no IntelliSense and there is no HTTP response classes coming. But rather than we are getting some red lines quickly, that means something is wrong. But how do we resolve this issue? If you are new to Django, you don't know HTTP response class is coming from which library. And simply what we can say, directly can place mouse pointer after writing HTTP response. You can import this django.http response. Click on this. Automatically that on the top, you will get this header file, like the library. So you have resolve the issue here, HTTP response. So HTTP response is coming from where? From django.http import HTTP response. Or else you know how to write it, you can write it, not a problem. So manually you can write it here. So from django.http import HTTP response. So this HTTP response is give the response to user. So I'm taking, this is my first response. This is my first response I'm taking. Response. Or this is my first view like that, better, first view. So this is what function, or every function is act as one view. So multiple views also we can create. So where I created this function v1 view, views folder, views.py. So we have to execute this view or not? Yes. If it is a Python, directly you can call the v1 view. Function will return the response, but it is what actually? Django. So you need to execute through server only this one. So how to inject this v1 function to execute the server? URL you have to set, URL patterns you have to set for this execution. So for setting URL patterns, where I should go under the project level folder, urls.py is there or not? Yes. Here we need to set the URL path. But just observe here, your view is coming from where? Views.py. Views.py is present where? My app. But how does this urls.py know that the views are coming from my app? Inside the views.py, v1 is there? Yes. So that's what we need to do. We need to import the module in the URLs from application name is my app. Import what you are importing? Views. This is mandate. From the application my app, we are importing what? View section. So this view section is available to the urls.py. Once we are making this view section available to the urls.py, then we can set the path for that request. So I'm sending path v1 slash. Now you can see this is my URL name. Any name you can take, not a problem. This name only finally we have to send in the request of the URL. So what is that? Views. In views, what is there? v1, v1 is there. Then comma. So I have included one more URL pattern here. The URL name is this one only. So you can have option to visit admin URL or v1 URL. Any name you can use it. Admin means if you hit the URL address, admin means it will bring you admin page. v1 means it will go to directly views.v1. Views are coming from where? My app. It will go to my app. It will go to views. View will execute. And this is going to be get return response on. This is the flow. So look at this. First, when we start the server, look at this. I'm going to start the server. To start the server, what we can do? Simply, we can pass this command, python space manage.py run server. Once the moment when we start the server, now we will get some link. This link we have to hit. This link, whenever I hit this, that is called client request. So request directly goes to Django server. Server can identify the urls.py. Immediately, the moment when I click on this, it will go to urls.py. In urls.py, it will wait for your request. User has to decide whether he wants to go admin or v1. For your waiting for your request, then you can send v1. For example, if I set v1, then Django server can identify the v1 URL name through views.py. So immediately it will go to views.py. In the views.py, which is relevant view name is their action method. This is action method. This action method through we are sending request. In return response, what we are getting, this is my first view only. Let me show you. When I hit this link right now, it is showing what actually page not found. Why? Because this still it is waiting for your request only. So you have two options. Either you can hit the URL address admin or view v1. Any one you can hit this request. I'm going to send request v1 only. So we got return response is what's up. This is my first view. And if I go for admin means it will go to admin again, admin panel again. And let's go back here. I'm going to go for v1 only. So this is the way to execute here. Once we got the execution, if you do any changes, no need to close the browser and no need to start the server. Okay, simply you can do this. You can go back to your location and sir, I want to display in the response with the h1 section. This is HTML code actually. HTML code also we can inject. H1 section means I want to display this statement in somewhat big size. So let's changes here. After doing changes, directly you can go to browser and refresh it. That's it. So no need to close the browser window every time. Refresh. This is my first view. It is coming. So this is exactly flow, how it is going to happen. So how it is going to execute the Django request and response. HTTP response is coming. Okay, it's a normal response, HTTP response. So what happens if I try to give in the URL section, if I don't give any name here? Look at this. No URL name is giving here. Did I give any URL name? No. Yes, it is optional. When it is recommend means if you have multiple views, directly you are going to target one of the view, particularly the moment when we start the sending the request, directly I want to execute my view means don't give the name of the URL. Directly it will point to this one only, views.v1. So if you want to reload the server, simply go to terminal and click with mouse automatically server is going to reload. No need to type every time python space manage.py run server. Directly you can click the link here. Automatically we got response or not. There is no waiting. No need to give any URL name like this. This is my first view. Why? Because it's looking for directly, there is no name of the URL. Directly it will call views.v1. If we give the name, then it will wait for your request. Either user can send request through admin or v1. Look at this. Now it is waiting for your request. When we click on this, when we click on this, now you can see it is opening to another tab. It is waiting. Either user can choose this option or this option. Generally, in which case we can go for URL names or particularly, yes, when we have multiple number of views, then better to go for names only. I'll tell you why multiple number of views. So one views.py one views.py can have multiple number of views also. Yes, obviously. Suppose let me create one more view. I can create number of views as per my request. From which view through I want to execute, I can write it here. Return HTTP response. Now you can see here, I'm taking H1 section. Now this is my second view like this. This is my second view. H1 section is closed. So right now, how many views are there? Two views are there, V1 and V2. These are functions only, function-based views. In upcoming sessions, we'll start with class-based views also. That means Python classes. That's what I recommend to learn Django. Compulsory, the person should aware of that Python functions, Python classes, Python object-oriented programming principles, Python data structures, Python modules. These are all mandatory to learn Django. So right now V2 also there. So I have to include for this V2 also URL section. Let's go to URLs of project level. I'm setting the V2 view also here. Look at this, multiple views are there. That's what I'm setting V2 here. So user can decide which view he wants to execute. So that's what here V2, I'm setting URL. Then once I go to terminal and click with mouse and automatically server will be restart. Now it will wait for your request. Now this time you can see this. Admin you can hit, V1 you can hit, V2 you can hit, anyone you can use. But right now I'm taking what actually /V1. V1 means we will get V1 response. And if I change this in the URL address, V2 means what actually V2 response is coming. This is my second view. And do you want to go for admin panel all of a sudden? Then admin panel you can hit this. Based on URL name, it will redirect clearly. So if I don't give the names here, what is the problem here? Even though I have multiple views, so what happen if I don't give the names of the URL? Look at this. I don't give any name of the URL. By default, the moment when we start sending the request, so immediately this will execute. This will not. Okay, because there is no name is there, URL names. Directly it will point to V1 view only. Look at this, V1 only. There is no V2 option selection. We can't execute V2. Suppose if I interchange this value, for example, here only V2 is I'm changing, V2 I'm changing, V2 view, and here V1 I'm giving. So now by default, what will happen? V2 will execute now, because first we have mentioned the without URL name V2 only, no? So that's what V2 will execute now. V2 is the V1. Now let's refresh this. This is second view only. You can't able to execute first view. So that's where what I recommend, if we have multiple views, okay, with the different views are there. So different functions are there. Which function do you want to execute properly? That function name, we have to set the URL configuration. That's what we have to recommend. V1 / like this, V2 /. Got my point? V1 and V2 like this. This is the names of the URL names clearly. So now this time you have a flexibility to execute any type of V1, V2 like this one, not a problem. So V1 is going to be takes place and V2 is going to be takes place here. This is completely how to work with view and normal response here. But look at this here, no template is involving. So am I getting the response in the template separately? Template means HTML page. Did I create any HTML page? No. So that's what in the view section, look at this. HTTP response is active mode because we are sending HTTP response. But render when it is required means render also I'm going to use in upcoming session. Render means it is render the template. Your response will be land into template. Template means you have to prepare HTML pages. So that's where you can see it in the execution flow in this diagram. I have not included templates and model section at this moment. I'm still working with views only, view with the default responses. Later, I'll introduce you slowly templates, view with the templates, how to interact. After that, models also will come and join with us. So that is model database configuration. So once we know that how to work with views, with the templates and models, that is MVT pattern. From there, you can able to keep on going work with Django applications. First, you have to understand that each and every layer separately. So that's what I'm going to introduce one by one layers. First, views are introduced now, then maybe in the next session templates, next session models. But mostly next session onwards, I'm going to start with HTML basics. As I said that first demo sessions only complete Django. Next session onwards, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Bootstrap basics. In the next week completely, I'll cover that. After that, I will move to in real Django patterns. So now this is view. Okay, sir, we have only one application, that is my app. In this application, we have a views v1, v2. You are executing v1, v2 by injecting this v1, v2 URL names in the urls.py of Django project 630M folder. So what happen if I include another application in my Django project? Look at this. This is also very important. So is there only one app need to be created under this project? No, you can create multiple applications under one project. No. So that's what my question is. Later, according to my requirement, I just added one more application, my app 1. My app is already there. Just one more application I'm adding. So at that time, how to manage the views? Let's see this. I'm going to create the new application. You know how to create a new application to your Django project means simple. Go to terminal and pass the command python space manage.py start app. So application name is my app 1. That's it. Already my app is there. Let me go for my app 1. So this is the way to create a new application for your Django project. Under one project, you can create any number of applications. From now onwards, I'm going to create a lot of applications. Finally, at the end of the Django subject, I'm going to send this total project folder to your Google Drive with RAR folder. You can extract it and you can load into PyCharmator. All our classroom examples, whatever I discuss, applications, everything will be there at your location. So python space manage.py start app my app 1. Why we need to create my app 1 means my application is different topic I'm going to show you, because we can create many applications under one project. No, for every application, no need to create separate project. Project contains multiple applications. So that's the reason I'm going to create one more application. So I'm creating one more application, python space manage.py start app my app 1 is there. So my app 1 is created. Once I create my app 1, immediately it will add it to the project only. Look at this, my app 1 is added or not, say. But you know that very well. The moment whenever we create a new application to your project, that application must and should include under settings.py, compulsory. Then only Django server can recognize your application request. So already I have added my app name under the settings.py installed apps. But my app 1 also we have to include or not? Yes. Daily, this is compulsory, sir. The moment when we create a new application, that application we have to inform to Django server. How to inform that? Just go to Django project 630M settings.py. Inside the settings.py under installed apps is there, no installed apps. Here we have to inject that. Already we have included my app. I have just created my app 1. So my app 1 is there clearly here. My app 1. Got my point? My app and my app 1. This is the case. So once we included this, your application name, my app 1, then it will be clear. So Django can identify the requests which are coming from my app 1. It will give the response. Django can identify the requests which are coming from my app. It will give the response. If you don't include your application name, Django cannot recognize your application and request and response will not be possible. server is unable to send the response. That is the case. So this is one time. Every time, the moment when we create new application, that we have to include into installed apps of settings.py file. Fine. So let's go to your application. Okay, what is my application already done? My app is having views. Views are having two views are there here, v1, v2. Same here, I'm going to my app one, and my app one also I'm trying to create views. How to create views? You know that from django.http import http response. Now this time you can say I'm trying to create a view v1 request. Observe request. Any name you can take. Now again I'm taking return http response. Now I'm giving here h1 section. Yes, properly I'm giving. This is v1 view from my app one. I'm giving clarity here. Okay, like this. Next, v2 request. Return http response, and I'm taking h1 section. Just this is v2 view from my app one. Okay, my app one. Look at this. And let me change into my app views also. My app. So this is v1 view from my app. Okay, next I'm taking this is v2 view from my app. So ultimately what I mean to say, look at this, all of you. Let me close all the tabs and reopen again. So we have two applications right now, my app one. When we expand my app also is having views. Two views are there, v1 view, v2 view. So this is v1 view from my app, v2 view from my app. Next, similarly, my app one also there, one more application. In this view folder, we have two views are there, v1 view from my app one, v2 view from my app one, finally. So all the views we have to include in the URLs or not? Yes. Where is URLs? Project level URLs. So you can see urls.py project level URLs. But look at this, this v1 and v2 are coming from where? Views. Views are coming from where? My app only. So my app view only we are injecting. Okay. So look at this v1 and v2 I'm taking, just v1 and v2. Now coming to this. Here I'm going to include one more application views or not? Yes. My app one import views. Now tell me, you can see which is in active mode in these two applications. Which is in active mode? My app one only in active mode, not my app. Got my point? So that means though we are injecting v1 and v2, this v1, v2 are coming from which application? My app one, not my app. Let's read this, run this, Control C and run the server now. Once run the server, you will get the response will come from where you can check this. So it is waiting for v1 and v2. Anyway, I'm giving this v1. So this is v1 view from which application? My app one. Let me go for v2. This is v2 view from which application? My app one. So we are getting response from which application views are? My app one only. Why not my app? Because my app is not active. So recent module call. Suppose if I go for my app one, first only I mention and my app, and second I'm mentioning. Now these views are coming from which application? My app only. My app only here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, my app. Now when we send a request, now you can see we are getting my app. So the moment when I hit this request /v1, so it is coming from my app only. So that's what here v2, it is coming from my app only. So what does it mean? What you understand in this case? So when we have multiple applications in Django project, the moment when we include that application URLs under the project level URLs, like you can see project level urls.py is there. In this project level URLs, we included application like v1, v2. So you can able to get only what? Either one application, that is recent application views only, not all. So that's where we recommend here, don't use
project level URLs. Instead of that, we can use application level URLs. Got my point? So application level URLs are recommended. Don't go for project level URLs, because if we go for multiple applications, then at a time only we can work with recent application including only. So not all. That is the problem. That is where problem is occur. Got my point? So that's what we can do here. Simply better to go for application level URLs. Application level URLs means each application folder we have to create urls.py. But by default, there is no urls.py. We need to prepare. Yes, how to prepare? Look at this. My app, right click, go to new Python file, give the name is urls.py. Now you can see urls.py file is created. In this urls.py, you know how to write the code, you can write it, or else you can copy and paste from project level URLs. This one you can copy and paste it, URL patterns like this, not a problem. Okay, but I know how to write it. I'm not going to do copy paste. So now you can see urls.py of my application. I'm writing here from django.urls import path. From my app, this is my app views only, import views. Then URL patterns equals to path I'm giving. So view name I'm giving v1 slash views.v1 I'm taking. That's it. Next, one more view also there. So that's what I'm including. One more view path I'm taking. So here v2 slash views dot what actually v2 here views dot v2. This is my application level URLs v2 here, comma. So if you don't know how to write this, simply I recommend to copy and paste from the project level URLs. I didn't do anything. So you can see from django.urls import path. Same thing, you can copy this URL patterns link and you can edit it. Admin is not required because it's application level URLs. So same, I'm going to copy this code and I have to include into my app1 URLs or not. Yes, you can create my app1.urls file also. Right click on my app1 and go to new Python file, give the URL names urls.py, or else directly copy from your application URLs. No, this folder you can copy, right click on it and copy it, and right click on in my app1 and paste it also. It is also possible. So directly paste it. So directly it will come here. Only you have to change this my app1 URL. This is your my app1 URLs. So v1 and v2. So that's all. Setting is over. So look at this. So your application, my app is having URL separately. My app1 is having URL separately. You have injected that views into your application level URLs. But the first request, whenever we start the Django server and when we send request goes to where project level URLs. First it will go to project level URLs, and at this time you need not to include here. So you have to include your project application level URLs also in the project level URLs. How to include means we have include function is there. Look at this. I'm including this include function, and we have to use path. So your multiple applications are there, no? So you have to give my app slash. Then what we have to include in the single code. Your application name is what? My app dot URLs. This I'm injecting. Next path. Your application name is what actually? My app1 slash. I'm including my app1 dot URLs. So my app1 dot URLs. So look at this. Let me close this everything. I'm going to explain step by step. For the first time, whenever we send request, how the process is going to take place, listen carefully. So just don't get confused. Yes, obviously Django is somewhat, it is completely different. So for the first time, those who are seeing, you may feel a bit complex. Obviously, it is a bit complex only, but compulsory I have to understand it. There is no way for you. So I'll make it simplified. So now you can see this. The moment when I start the server here, when we hit this link now, direct it will go to first where project level URLs it will go. After that, it will wait for your request. Do you want to execute my app? So you can execute my app. My app means immediately it will go to my app.urls because I have included. If you want to execute my app1 means you have to give the URL name my app1. It will go to my app1.url. Assume that if I enter my app, it will go to my app.urls. My app.urls already included no here. immediately it will go to myapp.urls. Again, it will wait for your request. In the myapp URLs, you have injected two views. Which one you want to execute, you can use. myapp/v1 means v1 will execute. myapp/v2 means v2 will execute. In case in the project level URLs, if we hit myapp1 means it will go to myapp1 URLs. So immediately in myapp1 URLs, where it will be there, what is there, myapp1 URLs, again here v1, v2 is there. So it is completely separate. Any number of applications we can create now onwards, that application URLs we can include into project level URLs. That is finished. Now we can see we have flexibly we can work with. So for example, I'm trying to work with this one only, sir. So let me show you here. Admin myapp1 is there. Which application URLs through you want to send request? myapp/v1. So this is v1 view from myapp. myapp/v2. This is v1 v2 from myapp. If I want to execute myapp1, you can go to change the application name URL/v1. This is v1 view from myapp1. And this is v2 view from myapp1. Any view, any application URLs, you can hit this, it will work fine. That's where application level URLs are recommended. So this is about dealing with multiple application, each and every application, how we can include multiple views, each view how to include, so we can use it, not a problem. In the project level URLs also, sir, if I don't give the name, what will happen? So by default, your application directly it will execute. Which application URLs will be priority first? myapp only. So whenever we have multiple application, then we can give the names only better, because which application URLs you want to hit, that you can decide it. So if I hit myapp means it will go to myapp URLs. In the myapp URLs also, there are two views are there. Again, which view you want to execute, that you can decide it, v1, v2 like this. So application URLs is the best way when we deal with multiple application under single Django project. So this is about total view section, what we introduced, how view is going to work exactly here. But in upcoming session, we'll see templates and models also clear. So this is all demo sessions over 5 lectures, 5 videos ready. So these 5 video recordings and along with complete Django PDF, total 298, 300 pages PDF, which we have, that I can hand over it to you once I collect the mail IDs from Durga sir. If you have already my Python full stack students, no worries. So your details already with me. So tomorrow morning or evening, you will get complete 5 lectures, what I discussed Django videos and complete PDF. I can hand over it to you. You just check your mails. But those who are out of the students, so those who exclusively join for my Django sessions, you just enroll for this sessions by contacting to Durgasoft, so that they will give your mails. Then once I receive your mails, usually you will get videos and material. And tomorrow you don't have session because first batch Saturday, so no session. And tomorrow, yes, 6:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. Daily session is timing 6:30 a.m. Again, this session will be on Monday onwards. So I will provide a new link for this. So this Zoom link will not work from Monday onwards. So paid link will work. So only those who enroll for Django as well as Python full stack students only will get that link. So you just wait for Monday. Monday again your next session. And those who are having some problem while setting up Django project setting and everything, so you can I will send a normal link for our existing students. Okay, you can join with that link tomorrow morning 6:30 a.m. also. I will assist you those who are having some problem with Django setting and installation of virtual environment, everything. So you just mail me if you are existing students. So any problem, so that I will send a link to you. You can also join 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I'll ask you share your screen so that I can fix your problems clearly. So that's all for now today. For you only, I'm arranging session. Sherry, especially you only, I'm arranging the session tomorrow. You only join, so I'll assist you. What is the problem? You just clearly discuss with me. I'll send the link. Okay. So that's all. See you on Monday again, our regular session for Django. You just forget about other issue. You just focus on your issue. So if they're having issues, they'll mail us.
Yeah, he was just messaging me. So
Okay. Okay, those who are having problems, so they'll obviously join us. So I'll send the link for them all. So let it be.
okay, thank you. I'm not a self-center, by the way. Just thinking about. I have to think about other also, right? Other ones are studying also, not only me.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.